I love the way the First Gen Lounge makes me feel.
Because it creates a space where I belong.
Where we're able to create community.
The fact that it's a community.
It's a safe place.
It also gives me a place to understand different perspectives.
The stories of these individuals prescribe transformational perspective.
I receive encouragement, enlightenment, empowerment.
And also serve as a catalyst to just keep going.
Where we're able to be our true selves.
I'm allowed to be an unapologetic first gen.
And above all else, tell our story.
And every episode is unique.
I love it.
I'm your host, Dr. Eve, and I'd like to welcome you to the First Gen Lounge.
All right, people, good people, First Gen fam, we out here always, aren't we? Look, I can't speak for anybody but myself, but I will say that this time that we're in, where we're figuring out our new normal, has been, I would say, really interesting for me. And in a good way, because a lot of reflection, a lot of growth that's been happening lately. And every guest I get to talk to that comes on, and, you know, they are always bringing something different. And this particular person I met before everything popped off. We really met at the brink of we happen to be inside. And the person who's with us today is just really incredible, like very creative. I saw his work and was like, yo, he's dope. Who is that? So I have with us today, Deondra J. Edwards. What a name. Hey, Deondra.
Hey now. How y'all all doing? How you doing?
I think I'm going to say, we all right. Not like we're at a concert now. I think, speaking of concerts, did you get to watch that Jill Scott and Erykah Badu the other week?
I got a little piece of it, and I felt like it was, I wouldn't call it a battle. I felt like it was an exchange of good energy, good music. It's not, I wouldn't put it on verses, but it was definitely needed for the culture.
Mm-hmm. And then, but I think it was really creative. When I went back and looked at it after the fact, I saw that it was called Versus, but it wasn't called Versus, like verses, like we're in a battle. They made it like it was literally verses, like hear the song Versus. That was a really, really good time for me. So with us being inside, me watching that just took me to a real good place. Like, I really feel like I was at a concert. I was jamming. I went and got my wine, and my husband came downstairs. He was like, dang, this how we doing? But yeah.
I heard the grits line was heard around the world, for Jill Scott, when that line of grits is like, I heard it was all around the world. So that was a beautiful thing.
It is. And it's just, but you have never realized, especially as you're creative too, the impact of what you're doing and what that will mean, 10 to 15 years from now. Because I had actually I went to YouTube, and after the fact that happened, my second concert and my follow-up to the songs that I missed, because I got on a little bit late, to be for real. And when I was going back to listen to it, I was like, yo, this was 10 years ago. This was 15 years ago. Like, where did the time go? And I was like, one, I'm telling my age, but then two, I was like, it's crazy how much music, though, sticks with us. And it's one of those things that we just hold on to. So yeah, we've gotten all into different conversations, but hey, that's what's happening in the First Gen Lounge. We doing stuff that's new, but good for you. But Deondra, tell us, my friend, who you are and what you do. You fellow HBCU grad, who are you?
My name is Deondra Jermaine Edwards from St. Louis, Missouri. And I was fortunate to attend a few HBCUs, since 2009. I went to Harris Stowe State University. I went to Lincoln University of Missouri for 3 years, and I ultimately graduated from Virginia State University. And as well, went to film school in the New York Film Academy in Burbank, California. I've been all around. I've been all around, especially as a creative. I didn't really tap into that creative part until like my junior year of college. So you never know when it'll actually come, when you will actually be a creator, because I was a psych major originally. And it wasn't until my junior year, it's like I picked up a camera and I was like, I know I'm closer to graduation, but I got to follow my passion. And once I followed my passion, it took me to Virginia.
Wow. So literally from St. Louis to even being in Virginia and California, you have literally lived all across the country. So which coast do you like better?
I really enjoyed the East Coast. Going to school in Virginia State, it felt like it was a fashion show every day. It's just nice to see, everybody dressing up. Like, I know I'm from the Midwest, I love it, but they ain't got nothing as far as fashion on the East Coast. And on the West Coast, it's a different breed in itself. I enjoyed it, but also I was in California, so the cost of living was too high for me. So
Okay.
I always enjoyed Virginia. Yes, ma'am.
That's what it was. Okay, I see it in Virginia. It's still, get comfortably, south, but you're still right there at that, come on, that framework.
Like in that
Maryland,
area,
DC, and you can still get to that area real easily. And I love DC. There are a few cities that I love. Chicago is one, and DC is definitely the other. So, other places I've been that I really enjoy. I enjoy the islands a lot too. That's really interesting. He said Virginia's where it's at in the fashion show. How you gonna hate on your own people though? Talking about Missouri ain't even got it like that. Ooh, Missouri, y'all should be mad at your boy. Ooh, how you gonna do your people? You can't, and you from Missouri. You supposed to be on there putting off Missouri. Talking about they ain't got no fashion.
I'll rep for Nelly. I definitely rep for Nelly.
I was gonna ask you that, right? You ever meet Nelly?
Oh no, I haven't been fortunate. Unfortunately, I never met Nelly. They always ask, "Do we know Nelly?" I wish I could meet him, but no, I haven't.
But it's so funny because when you think about it, like the only reason I feel like I ever got to know about Missouri, like as a place on the map, like you learned the map when you were in school, but because of Nelly, because you like Missouri. What's in Missouri?
Oh yeah, he's that pioneer. Like he's that pioneer for St. Louis and bringing St. Louis any type of recognition. So him and St. Lunatic. So it's like it was them as a whole package, just with them representing St. Louis as they did, and the music that he did was just iconic. He's like number 6 diamond hip hop artist. That sold 10 million records. So that's definitely great.
That's something that's interesting. And the other thing about St. Louis that I understand is y'all's barbecue. Is it for real what they say about that barbecue?
I would say depending on where you go. If you end up going to St. Louis, you definitely going to be in for a treat. If you end up getting you some barbecue from out there.
I love that. That's cool. But so we talked about Nelly and Nelly being a creative. I really want to talk about you being a creative. Like, let's really, really talk about this because you are a filmmaker. And, again, creator, director, screenwriter, like you do it all. And you touched on it earlier, but what got you into it? And, what is it that continues to drive you? And tell us a little bit about the actual work that you're doing with Just Black. So
when I first picked up a camera in 2013 is when it all really just sparked up. Originally, I became like a photographer for the school, just taking pictures here and there. And at that summer, that summer of 2013 is when I really realized that I don't think I want to stay at Lincoln anymore. I don't feel like I'm being fulfilled taking up psychology. So transferred to Virginia State University, like at the drop of the dime, like this is like at the end of the summer. And I ended up taking up mass communication with a concentration in television. I had a professor that we had a class and he ended up saying that we was going to shoot like a short film. Like each group has to shoot a short film. And then once I shot like my first short film, I just fell in love with it. That was just the birth of the career path that I'm choosing to go, which is to be a filmmaker, to be a director, ultimately. I love that. So tell us about Just Black. What did that come from? What is it all about? Because they don't know about it. So you got to tell them about Just Black. Okay. So Just Black is a pilot film. It's about a high school student that has just graduated high school. He wants to attend Harvard University. He wants to attend that PWI school because he feels that HBCUs are inferior to the PWI. He's a Black student that came from a privileged family, but his family are HBCU graduates themselves, and they would like for him to go. But he does, like I said, he grew up privileged. He came up from a predominantly white high school, middle school, elementary school, and he just feels like he's superior to anybody that's Black. So he wants to attend that school, and ultimately his aunt forces him to attend an HBCU orientation because he's been placed on the waiting list, and it's getting close to that time to make a decision on what school you want to go to. You get a chance to see Travis Thompson, the name of the character, just go to the orientation. You see how uncomfortable he is, and you get to see him with his cousin Zeke. You get the chance to see Travis with Zeke as they, navigate through this HBCU orientation. At the end of it all, you get a chance to see Travis make an actual decision on whether to stay and wait to hear back from Harvard, or you get to see him make a choice to go to the HBCU, which is the name of the school is Michael G. State University. Okay. So let me ask you this then. Why is that even an important conversation to have?
this whole idea of these IBs versus these HBCUs, which I've heard about for many years. But why did you even want to put that out there in the atmosphere?
I believe that HBCUs get a lot of bad rap. Like there's certain type of content that was being put out of recent years. I felt like it was like a target against HBCUs. The film called Burning Sands, I just felt like they kind of put a damper on HBCUs as a whole. Because first thing you see anything that's a pledge, and you have people that highlight HBCUs. So I just felt like I owe HBCUs that a film that'll shed light, and hopefully it inspires people to want to attend an HBCU.
Yeah, so it is important, when you think about going to an HBCU, like to understand and to respect the differences in the institution type. What was it about HBCUs that even attracted you? Because like you told us, you went to 3 of them, definitely, for different reasons. But what was it for you that made an HBCU stand out or even attractive thing?
So for me, I went to 3 HBCUs, but I chose one. So when I say that, the first time I stayed for personal reasons. The second time, I still didn't know so much about HBCUs to say like, okay, I want to go to a historically Black college and university. I just know that I was on a band scholarship. So those 2 were, it was by chance I went there. But that third time when I realized that, okay, I want to leave. I want to leave. That's when I felt like I felt like I was getting nutrients when I was attending an HBCU. Just with attending Lincoln University, Missouri for 3 years, I felt like I still need to be fed, not just career wise, or somewhere that I can fulfill, my passion. But I feel like I still want to be around people that look like me, and that was something that was important to me, and that was something I had to grow with while attending the HBCU. I grew up, in Black high schools and all that. And a lot of times people say, I don't want to be around more Black people, or just like the same type of group. Well, there's a difference between collegiate people of color and people who you grew up with high school. These a bunch of knuckleheads compared to a lot of people that's striving to do better, that are actually making a change in the community, and that comes from all places of the world. So that's what made me want to attend an HBCU. That made me choose a HBCU my last time around for undergrad.
I can dig that. And then when you started thinking about going into film school, like your graduate program, what led you to go elsewhere? Is it that, and I know the answer to it, but just kind of, thinking about it, is it that HBCUs just didn't have the opportunity that you needed, not the programs? Because it's like, well, if you're such a fan of HBCUs, then why not keep going to one?
And that was the thing. I couldn't find a HBCU with a filmmaker master program, or at least I didn't know of many. And also California is like the mecca of all things that's film related. So I'm like, okay, since I can't really find a film program that'll cater to what I'm trying to do, I'm just going to try California. I believe Howard has a filmmaking master's program. So that's something that I didn't grasp at that time, because I was so ready to come back home and then just kind of regroup, because I didn't know what was next. So it took me about a year to end up really going off for film school. So I didn't even think about, okay, what HBCUs will have a master's film program. I definitely want to extend my filmmakers hat into a HBCU, hopefully sometime down the road.
I really like that you frame it that way, that it wasn't that you couldn't have gone to an HBCU though. It's just where you were looking for the opportunity for what you wanted to do, because alignment and positioning is very important, especially as you're thinking about, like I said, your graduate school career. California is hot for what you're trying to do. So why not go out there and be a part of the industry that it had nothing to do with not thinking that your institution or these institutions are qualified, for what it is. But again, positioning is everything. It's kind of like somebody saying they want to practice a specific type of law and they're going to go somewhere that's totally, not even for that thing they want to practice. It's kind of backwards. So I really do like, that you had that in mind, that it wasn't about the thought of being or not being an HBCU, as it was just more important to go where you knew long term you'd be establishing yourself and creating a career and moving forward. So I think that's real dope. On the flip side of things, you are a Black man in film. And I feel like, in a number of cases, we still get to see more Black men than Black women. But how then do you in an industry that, from my outside looking in perspective, how do you keep from being like an angry Black man or somebody who, is making sure that you establish your space in the industry without stepping on too many toes? Or do you just have to step on toes?
At least in this type of field, you have to be firm. You have to stand on your own on 2 feet. This is a field that you can most definitely get pushed and ran over on. And I find myself having to balance being firm and not trying to be, as the angry black guy. Because I've been in that position on set where I may get upset and I have to water myself down so much because I may come off as too aggressive. So it's really about finding a balance, and you have to be disciplined. It's so important for us as black filmmakers, especially men, that you have to tread lightly. You have to tread lightly when you're on these sets, when you're having these conversations with, producers and the people that's above you. We can't just express ourselves like someone else can. We can't give the same energy as, our counterparts can in this field. So it's stressful. I find myself being very stressful because I wear my emotions on my face and I just have to bite my tongue, bite the bullet. I wear my emotions on my face. I also try to just be conscious that, okay, I have to be professional at all times. We always have to be professional at all times.
So what advice would you give then to a young black man who's just now getting started in film, as well? What would you say to him to, consider and think about as he's looking to take on that journey?
I believe it's extremely important to find your tribe. You have to find like-minded individuals that wants to come together as an actual team. If you're strong as a cinematographer, well, find you a writer, then find you a director. Just build you a tribe that caters to the things that you really want to do as far as a filmmaker. I know for me, I've always been a loner, and it was hard putting my trust into people. To trust people to do their job is a hard task at hand. When I was in undergrad, I always did everything by myself. I shot, I directed, I edited, but it's an amazing thing when you know that you can rely on somebody to do their job. And that's something that being in film school taught me, that I wear my director's hat. I don't want to wear the cinematographer's hat. I don't want to wear the writer's hat when I'm on director's mode. I don't want to wear my producer hat because that's not my duty. I don't want to worry about lights. That's your job. So putting my trust into people that do this, their job is amazing. If you can find a tribe of people who you're actually friends with, because being filmmakers and friends, that helps you out so much more. You can rely on your friends. So I would say the first thing would be build your tribe as a filmmaker, and it'll make everything else run so much smooth. I swear it'll make everything so much smooth.
So let me ask you this too then. Thinking about even your career, again, and being a filmmaker, how were you able to find the funding that you needed? What are some of the things you did to get that off the ground?
So at least for Just Black and all my other films that were shot in California, a lot of sacrifice of living a social life was needed. We got refund check. It was tri-semester. We got refund checks. I got $12,000 each semester, and I just saved my money. I stayed in a 2-bedroom apartment with 5 of us all together, $500 per person for rent, because I knew that I was going to be taking a sacrifice with my finances. You live in California, you want to travel and, just sightsee and all that. I know I can't do that if I'm trying to make these films. Just Black was roughly about $7,000. And that was, me saving money and while also having to feed myself and, pay for any type of traveling that I did. That was whether it was going back home or not. So like I said, saving those refund checks will help you with all that, because I didn't have a job in California. When you're in film school, more than likely, you're not going to have a job because there's so many hats that you got to wear in film school. Chances of you having a job and balancing that out with film school is very, it's unlikely. So sacrificing how comfortable I was and saving those refund checks and not just blowing the money on clothes and, and cars and all of that stuff.
What do you say to somebody who was like, no, don't take out a student loan though. Don't do that. What do you say to that person?
I would say do it, but do it with the purpose. Don't take out the loan because you want to live a cool life. You want to do a lot of traveling, things like that. So like if you're going to do it with the purpose. That should loans should be like your last resort. You should only go to loans after you didn't try to get scholarships, you didn't try to get grants, family contributions. You at the end of it all, that's when you'll end up taking out their loan, and you do it with the purpose. Like I took out my loans. I'm in debt, but I see a bigger vision. There's a goal at hand. down the road for me. And the way I see Just Black going later on down the road, that money's going to come back tenfold. It's going to come back tenfold somewhere down the line. Like I said, it's a sacrifice, and they take their loan out with intention.
I can appreciate that perspective, and here's why. Because again, as a first generation college graduate, what life looks like for you, especially coming from a low SES background, is not something where you said, my folks just have it. And they just have it to give to me. And it's for you to be creative in your approach to taking care of yourself that's led you to say, well, here is the best option for me. Because while I am one about, if you can have as little debt as possible, have as little debt as possible. But when it's an absolute necessary, and when that debt is allowing you to make the investment that's good for whatever's coming next, you've got to weigh the cost. So for you to say, this is what I had to do what I needed to do, but now because of it, I have this degree, I have this experience, I've been able to produce film and do things because of it. So you have results. And like you said, it's contributing to the big picture. And it's mindful. So I really love that perspective, because there are a lot of us who are first gens who just don't have it. And because we don't have it, we're missing out on some of the opportunities, compared to others who do have it, and have it as just the resources, the access. And like you said, being a last resource to be able to lean into loans or credit cards, but to make sure that you're using it for something that you're going to make money back on. Mm-hmm. So I can appreciate that thoughtfulness and that perspective a lot.
That's extremely important. Like my mindset, when I found that I can't pay the rest of something, at least for like college-wise, somebody's going to pay for my education. Like there's going to be some money. When I transferred to Virginia State, I was on the course of being sent back home because I didn't have the finances to pay for the rest of school. And this is when I had first time driving all 13 hours to Virginia State. And I'm a self-advocator. Early on, I ended up finding out how to self-advocate, and I was able to email every administrator that was possible. I went onto their website. I looked at anybody that was a higher, administration, and I just told them about myself, what I'm trying to do. And I said, I promise that I'll be out of Virginia State. And I think I ended up saying after 3 semesters, give me 3 semesters and I would be done. I would be done with Virginia State. And, and I got an email saying that they will pay, from a person, his name is Mr. Bland. He ended up giving me the money to finish off that first semester. I did great my first semester, and then that just carried on to the next semester. And I just kept doing the same thing for those next 2 semesters, and I was done. I made a promise to them, and I stood firm on very same thing. So I don't let the finances be my roadblock. I'm gonna exhaust every possible avenue there is before I end up taking the L. Before I end up taking the L, I'm gonna ensure that I take every possible route for a W. So that's my stance. I don't let it be my roadblock. Somebody's gonna pay for it.
Let me just give you all of this right now, because look, not only do you talk about self-advocacy, but the idea that you just won't quit. Like there's no such thing as no if you refuse to, let there be a no. Like you're like, I'm looking for the yes. I'll give me the yes, because how easy is it for us to give up when we just don't see a way? How easy is it for us to be like, nah, like I'm good. It's not going to happen for me because I can't, or this ain't, or I don't. But for you to not have the excuse, like that's what it means to really be out here going to get it. And I love that. And that reminder that keep going until you find your yes. Keep going until you find who's going to do it. Because it's business, right? It's all business. And at the end of the day, we both know, as creatives and entrepreneurs, not every door is even meant for us to go through. So even for me, I have this thought that, and a friend actually put this on my brain a while ago. You want to pray for God to send you people who are like you and better. And what that means is people who share the vision, people who get it, who can see what you're trying to do, and who want to be in alignment with you. So it goes back to that tribe. But that tribe, not even that it's always people who are like directly around you, like your friends, right? Sometimes that tribe is, like you said, those administrators who see you and hear what you're saying is like, all right, I got you. I believe in you. Or it's the people who you don't even realize buying your books or, purchasing some of your products or into your services, who show up and they invest and they allow you to continue to be who you are and the best element of yourself. So I love that, but you got to keep looking for it, but not just looking for it. You got to ask God, the universe, Buddha, whoever it is that you believe in, to say, hey, this is what I'm after and this is what I need. Can you send it to me? Can you show me, where to go, because something ignited within you to say, I'm going to go and talk to this person. Something drove you to do that. Whatever it was, you trusted that thing. But I have a firm belief that your thought was, how can I figure this out? Who do I need to talk to? Rather than just, it ain't gonna happen. It's not happening. So, man, I love that. Like, that got me real excited, because it's very true. You can have what you want, but you got to go out there and you got to find it. Nobody's just going to throw it in your lap. And not just that, you can't sit around and just assume that people are going to give you anything. Because people worry about themselves, period. If you need something, you got to go out there and you got to be like, this is what I need. And especially when you're looking at entrepreneurship, if you need it and nobody's going to give it to you, you can't be mad at people, for your failure. That's on you. That ain't their responsibility. So,
people don't owe you.
Yeah, they don't owe you.
That's what essentially is. No one owes you anything. Like you're going to try. You got to get it by any means. I have a will to not. I don't want to lose. And that's more than enough. Like I don't want to lose. I want to be the best at whatever I'm at. I want to work for mine. People don't owe me anything. Of course, you can be upset, if somebody don't, pour into you. But do they owe you? You don't owe me anything. But you gonna respect that I grinded for it though. You gonna respect that I did everything possible to ensure my success. So that's the biggest thing. I'm gonna ensure. I'm gonna do everything possible to ensure my success.
I'm with that. I'm absolutely with that. So tell us, what's next for you? What's coming up?
So for me, for right now, continue to push Just Black. The ultimate goal is to get that pitch meeting. In 2020, 2021, I want to be able to go to one of these executives or someone out there that really just check out the film Just Black and possibly get distribution into making that actual series, because the goal is to really make that my actual series. On top of that, I also have another film called Crave that I'm getting music done for it. And once the music done is for that, I'll start submitting to film festivals. And the whole process of film festivals is a headache, but that's something that you should do as a filmmaker to get your name out there so people recognize you a whole lot more. So getting that film Crave completed all the way, then I'll be able to push that as well and just try to get more eyes on it, and also look for filmmaking opportunities out there.
I'm with that. Well, I am so excited for you. And I actually did have a chance to check out Just Black. And I was like, yo, you are extremely talented. Like, it didn't even look like, sometimes you look at something like this bootleg. The quality is like, it's good. It was good. I enjoyed it. And especially, it said, being an HBCU graduate and hearing how you were able to break down these elements of why it's even important, and then to see you in the film as well. I was like, oh, okay, I see it. So I'm just excited about what you're doing. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it now. I look forward to the day. Like, yeah, he was on the show. He's been on the podcast. I know him. Because, your grind and your hustle, it takes time to get there. But you're well on your way. And the fact that you keep showing up and that you're hungry and that you're out there is what's really important. So for those of you who have been sitting on these thoughts and dreams of yours, they don't come true unless you make them. They don't come true unless you hustle. And for you to have found your thing and to pursue that fearlessly, that matters, because it makes all the other things just as meaningful. The reason why you don't give up, the reason why you're finding creative ways to do things, the reason why you hustle is because you found something that you believe in that's worth the hustle. So I'm with that. So on that note, that thing you want to leave us with, what is that thought that you want for us to carry with us to marinate on for the rest of our lives? What is Deondra going to tell the people?
I would say, have a killer will. And that's as simple as that. Like, stick to your guns. Never do anything for the money. Do it for the passion. Do it for the love. Money will always come, but when you do stuff for the passion, it's a different type of feeling as opposed to a person that do it for the money. So I always recommend follow your passion and just have that killer will to be the best at whatever you do, and put your foot on their necks.
Hey, on their neck. You saw HBCU. You saw HBCU. I love it. Well, look, thank you, Deondra, for being here. Y'all be on the lookout for him. And of course, I'm going to make sure in your show notes that we drop the link to your video, to your project, so that people can check it out and support you. And, we're cheering for you. We got you back here in the First Gen Lounge. But again, thank you for just sharing your time and your wisdom.
Thank you so much.
You are so very welcome.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you and for all the things that you're doing. I love what you're doing. So I can't wait to see what you do just going forward. So wow. Beautiful person, beautiful soul.
Wow, thank you so much. Wow. Look, see, y'all see the HBCU love? See it?
You already know.
They don't understand. No, some of them, yeah. But if you ain't go to HBC, you missed out. No, but really, I really appreciate that. And, and speaking, we met at UNCF too. So even black can be black, but for good reason. So I all love. But again, thank you so much.